We'll start with that.
Okay, we'll start again. Now we're recording. Okay, welcome to UVMTA today. I am Bethany Burt, and I am the functioning, currently, UVMTA president. And welcome to any that are new. I think there was one person that signed up that is new to UVMTA. Was it Laura? Laura, welcome. And to any others that are new, that are watching us virtually, welcome to UVMTA. It is a wonderful. This is an incredible organization. So, I wanted to start off first with letting us know that I gotta look here for a second. Marcia Bjorn's husband passed away, and in the entryway we have some little papers that you can sign. And we'll put into a card and give to her. And so if you see her, if you have the ability to go and talk with her or offer some love and support, I know that she would appreciate that right now. So I wanted to let you know that. I wanted to take a second to thank a few of the previous board members, and many that are done serving now are now going into other areas and are still going. But I wanted to take a second to say thank you. Last year was, and this year it's still the same, but last year was a pretty unique year. February, man, things just changed so quickly. I'm so impressed with how well the different leaders and different things were able to be carried out so that we could still have festival, still had so many of the things that continued. So thank you. Wanted to do a thank you, a personal thank you to a few who are done with their service. Melanie, I think, is still out in the hallway. I may have her, I'll catch her in just a second. First of all, a huge thank you to Paula for being willing to let us use her studio for workshops. And she's going to let us use her studio for the entire school year. So thank you, Paula. Thank you. Okay, Virginia Porter she has done, it's 3 years of service as our treasurer, and I've been still talking to her and asking questions, and she's just been wonderful. So thank you to Virginia. Oh, here's Melanie. Melanie, you're awesome. Thank you for your awesome service last year. Okay, Kairos. Have we got Kairos? Powell here. Festival chairman. So, and then Yvonne and Lorianne. So thank you for. Okay. Awesome. So what's happened is Melanie was the UVMTA president last year, and she is willing to this year be our website coordinator. So thank you. Kairos is, she's served all this time in festival, and she's going to help a little bit longer. So thank you, Kairos, for the wonderful help there. And then Yvonne and Lorianne were Festival Awards coordinator and assistant. So anyway, before we introduce the 2021 board members, there are a few positions that still need to be filled. We would like to have your recommendations, or you can recommend yourself as assistant to the president. This would be the person that would be working with Jackie Shaw, who will be the UVMTA president next year. So I've got a little sign-up sheet, so we'd love. Yeah. We need a festival second assistant, another assistant to help with festival this year. And then Music Matters Fellowship assistant or co-chair to help. Lisa would be wonderful too. So I didn't have it as you were coming in, but if you want to pass this around, if any of you are willing to help or know somebody that would be fantastic at helping, here you go. So here, let me bring this around. Maybe I'll just, okay. Okay, now Melanie Mom, our previous UVMTA president, is going to introduce the 2020-2021 board members.
Morning, everyone. I can't tell you, it's so nice to see you all. It feels like it's been forever. I really missed Festival last spring. So I'm glad to see you here, and I hope we can, well, we'll see. We'll just see. Anyway, okay, to business. As immediate past president of the UVMTA, I motion to elect the elective officers, which shall consist of president-elect, treasurer, and secretary. It has been proposed that we elect the following individuals to their appropriate board positions. If you'll stand when I say your name. Bethany Birch. Did I say that wrong?
Bethine, that's close.
It's Bethine. I have always said it wrong, and I keep thinking it must be the opposite of what I think it should be. So anyway, I'm sorry. Bethine Birch as president, Jackie Shaw as president-elect, Marilyn Gee as treasurer, and Heidi Neal as secretary. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Of course. Opposed. Congratulations to the elective officers of the UVMTA. The voting has been unanimous. I now motion to give a vote of support to the appointed officers of the UVMTA. Do I have a second? Thank you. I forgot to do that the first time. It has been proposed that we give a vote of support to the appointed officers, which include no one as yet as assistant to the president, hopefully by the end of the day. Stephen Thomas as BYU-Idaho advisor, Gayanne Erkenbrack as festival chairman and her assistants as listed in the directory, and other appointed officers as listed in the directory. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations to the appointed officers of the UVMTA. You have our full support. Thank you. Thanks.
I'll just keep the mask off because you can't hear me if I leave it on. Okay, Carrie Mills is our student teacher coordinator, and she has, I believe you had a little sign-up sheet, or you're going to be passing around a sign-up sheet. She coordinates students that are looking for teachers and teachers looking for students, and connects them up. And because I moved to Idaho Falls recently, I mentioned that I had a couple of openings, and I was able to fill those spots with her help. So thank you, Carrie, for what you're doing there, and just watch for that. For those that are on Zoom, if you would like to contact her, if you have some openings that you would like to let her know about, that would be wonderful. And we want to turn a few minutes over to our festival chairman this year, chairwoman, Gayanne Erkenbrack, and after Gayanne, Lisa will talk to us about Music Matters scholarships. So, thanks. Hi, we have a unique situation again this year for festival. So first of all, I'm going to take a quick little poll of 3 options. Where would you stand? Number 1, all virtual judging. Number 2, remote locations, which would include studios and homes. Number 3, cancel it altogether. Does anybody want to do number 3? Okay, all virtual. Okay, remote locations is where I'm headed. We were so lucky to be able to have our festival in April. But I as one say, my own experience with my students, it was not, it wasn't anything like what we've had in the past, the experience we want them to have. Currently, I've been in contact with BYU-Idaho. I have put in an application. They won't let me know until October whether we can even use anything on campus. As I visited with Stephen and the music department, the possibility of us using practice rooms is probably not even an option, so I didn't even request them. I've requested 5 big rooms on campus where we can socially distant, keep the judge 6 feet away from the student, and I don't know if they will even allow us to use that. So with that in mind,
I have a sign-up sheet too, which should have gone around with the first ones. If any of you would be willing to allow students and a judge to come into your home or studio, if you would sign up for me. You know, I know that having lots of people come through your house in a day may be uncomfortable, but that will be the only way that we'll be able to do remote locations and be able to have it work.
Could it be that we schedule our own judge in our own studio for our own students?
I love that idea. Or cooperate with another teacher. Sometimes the teachers in our area cooperate that way in this unique time. You know, if we didn't have enough students, coordinate with a teacher that lives nearby to do it that way.
That would put more responsibility on you.
Yeah,
And
what
if-
I'm
and if-
saying is I would feel more comfortable having my own students who are already coming to my own home, just having a judge come in. Basically what I did in the spring, however, they didn't come to my home. We were doing it virtually.
Right.
Judge, one judge judged all my students.
The only issue I see with that is that then, you know, we go back to you compensating the judge, because for us to pay a judge to judge for 4 hours, you may only take 1 or half an hour with that particular judge. Maybe we can do a combination, have 2 or 3 locations that will be going all day with judges. But then if you would prefer to do it that way, we could try to do a combination of
And I
that.
like the idea of maybe 2 or 3 teachers in the similar area.
Yeah,
Maybe have a pre-advanced judge at one and a little bit of immediate beginner to the other.
Mhm. Okay. Well, and that's kind of what it would turn out to be. I have an upstairs, downstairs at my home where people can come in one entrance, go out another without having to all sit together and congregate, which would be ideal. And I can have a pre-advanced, advanced judge upstairs, a beginner downstairs, and we rotate through. So yeah, but that's another issue. If you do it just your students, we've got to have a judge that can accommodate all the levels. Jamie?
I was, this last spring, I did it a 4th way.
Okay.
I had the student, the parent videoed them, and they sent me the YouTube video, and I judged it. That was really, I mean, so that was really easy.
Okay. My experience with the Zoom and what was the other one I used?
FaceTime.
And any of those, I could not hear dynamics. I couldn't.
Wait till we talk about that. We'll talk
Okay,
about
we'll
it.
talk about
But
that.
yeah, you're right.
This
That's-
was a recorded.
An actual
Recording's better.
YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube, which is a better recording.
Can the people on Zoom hear this conversation? Or they just ask? They can type in. They can just type in the chat if they have a question.
Okay. It looks
don't
like
think it's-
Lisa
I don't
has
think
it.
it's-
Somebody's waving up there.
Oh, wait. Okay, you can hear it. Great.
Okay. Okay. So we need some kind of a hybrid option then. If you would prefer to do it this way, I can see where that's going to be more complicated for me to try to say, okay, you're going to judge your students in your home. You're going to send yours to my house, where the festival committee will arrange for judges.
I can see for you it's a headache,
Mhm. Or we can do it the way we did in April, which
gave us the option of doing it this way or that way or this way, and also you can use this weekend or this weekend or however.
and I was planning to do 2 different weekends
As long as
for
you get it
festival.
and recorded by such and such a date.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I feel like I would encourage you to not judge your own students, to have a judge, and hopefully, I mean, my students, we didn't even have lessons we tried the remote lessons, I sat on their porch and listened to them. Trying to get them ready for festival it didn't work very well. They didn't have a good experience as far as preparation and performance. So, okay, with that feedback, I don't want to take any longer, but we'll try to come up with a hybrid option where if you would prefer to arrange for your own judge, we can do that. If you want to sign up for the festival committee to arrange for judges and you come to our location, we can try to do that. Okay, with that in mind, if you would be willing to have students come into your home to be judged by a festival judge, if you'd sign up for me so I can contact, we'll probably need about 20 locations to accommodate if I can get the 5 rooms on campus. So, okay, thank you. Go back here. Okay, here comes another sign. Should have on the other side. So hopefully all of you are kind of familiar with our Music Matters Scholarship. That was David Love's idea when we first started. So this is to help students that might not be able to afford lessons to take lessons. They can either be continuing lessons or a brand new beginner. I've got a flyer out there that just gives you some information and then an application, but I also send it online. And you can either mail them back to me or you can scan them and put them online for me. I kind of got a little late start because I wasn't sure what was going to be happening, since I thought, well, I don't want to go ask for money if we're not going to have students going on. So it's a little bit late, so I'm not sure how much we'll have coming in. Maybe do a little bit less this year. We were able to do 7 last year, and this year, and we've done 5. So it's growing and it's nice. I have some great businesses that this year I was able to just send a letter, said thanks for your help in the past. If you wanted to send it to me, and they have some of them, so that's great. But also, if anybody would like to help with that, I feel like sometime along the way, somebody else is going to have to take it over. And so if you want to kind of be an assistant to help me with that, like I said, it's easier now because I've got kind of a group of people that are contributing. Also, if there's anyone here that knows of a business or an individual even, someone might want to leave, say, okay, I'd like to support this. Let me know, because I would be glad to approach them and ask them about it. So just really quickly, the qualifications are, it is need-based. We kind of go on the free reduced lunch scale. You're feeling like, okay, if they're having at that level, then they're probably more qualified for this, because that also takes into account the size of the family. They have to have a piano or some instrument in their home. It just doesn't work very well for them to be going to grandma's or whatever. And then it will be sometime, the money will probably be coming about the 1st of November if I can get everything organized here. It goes through the teacher. There's a little place that you get to put, they get to say, why I want this, I want to take piano lessons. The parents get a chance to give some feedback, and the teacher gets a chance to give some feedback as to why this person. And it's worked pretty well. I hope that people have felt all right about it. And so if you have any questions, give me a call. If you'd like to help with it, give me a call. Thanks.
I see a question. It says, where do you want people on Zoom to sign up? Send an email to UVMTA if you would like to communicate with us, or you're welcome to call as well. So, are there any things that I may have overlooked that you would like to discuss before we start our workshop? Any people that are serving on the board that would like to share a little bit? I didn't talk with all of you. Are we all good to go? Okay, what we're going to do now is Jackie Shaw is going to announce, or she's going to let us know who our workshop presenter is, and we'll have our workshop. Oh, there was a question, excuse me.
Last year's awards.
Oh, what about last year's awards? Where do we pick up?
They should all be picked up. Yeah, everyone picked up, so I don't know.
Where did they go when they were not picked up?
We contacted everyone
They thought they were all.
that had an award form submitted.
So if there's somebody that, it says somebody is,
Lisa Hardiman.
okay, so Lisa, if you're wondering about the award, I guess just contact, and just contact us, or again, send an
I will
email.
call Lisa.
Okay, she'll call. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, Jackie.
Okay, apparently we all need some help with virtual teaching, so it's a good thing Stephen's here today. Okay, so Stephen Thomas has performed throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, China, Europe, and Japan. His performances have been broadcast for Chinese television and for radio stations such as WQXR in New York City. He has recorded and performed with principal players of the San Francisco Symphony in Davies Hall and in concerts throughout the Bay Area. Dr. Thomas frequently adjudicates piano competitions and presents master classes and lectures throughout the country and internationally. He served as president of Idaho Music Teachers Association from 2016 to 2018 and at the national committee level for MTNA. His students have won many competitions and awards and have been accepted into various music festivals. His students have also been accepted into degree programs with scholarships into major music programs such as Indiana University, University of Southern California, University of Michigan, Northwestern University, Rice University, and the Royal College of Music in London. He holds degrees in piano performance from BYU, Yale University, and Michigan. He's undertaken additional studies at the Royal Danish Conservatory in Copenhagen, Denmark, and with the faculty of the Moscow Conservatory. Dr. Thomas taught for 15 years at California State University, where he also served as chair of the Department of Music and as acting dean of the College of Arts. He is currently director of keyboard studies and associate dean in the College of Performing and Visual Arts at Brigham Young University, Idaho. We're excited to have him here and to help us today, and we will now turn over the time to Dr. Stephen Thomas. About 10:30, but give or take.
All right. Well, thank you. It's interesting to hear that resume and to recognize that not one of those experiences prepared me for online teaching. So it's a little bit sad, but true. Welcome everybody, and welcome everyone on Zoom. I hope you don't mind looking at my double chin here. That's the angle we did get, but very glad to be here. So I put a poll on the Zoom meeting asking who has taught online before, and if so, how many students? And I'm just going to ask you the same question. Who has taught online before?
Stephen,
Yes.
are you recording?
Yes. Yes, it should be recording.
Just
Yes. It says stop recording, so if I push that button, it will stop it. All right. So pretty much everyone has been forced into this situation. Before the pandemic, how many of you had taught online? 2 people. Yeah, I don't know if you want to answer that. It's not on the poll, but anyway, so we were all kind of forced into a new situation here. It looks like of those who've answered our poll, 93% have taught online before, and looks like mostly just a couple, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. You can see the results there on the blue graph there. But I'm going to go ahead and end that poll so I can get my screen back. But that's very interesting. I think we are all kind of forced into, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to just shut this. There we go. Okay. Whoops. So I'm going to bring screen share here to this. Oh, I gave it away, dang it. Okay. Okay. Okay, wait, that's not supposed to be the first slide. The first slide is, before this too, is the title, What Could Possibly Go Wrong, right? I'm sure you already know the answer to that question, right? Just from the experience you've had. Mostly live streaming issues, right? We have connectivity problems. How many of you have a dropped call or meeting that just failed? How about latency? That's the lag time between, right? Echoes, where it goes da, 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 right? That kind of thing. Sound compression, where you play and suddenly there's no sound. Or you play and then somebody tries to speak and you don't hear what they're saying because the compression software has said, oh, there's too much input, I'm going to turn this off. Right? Or you're in the lesson and you have to deal with troubleshooting, right? How many minutes of a 30-minute lesson can you afford to give to troubleshooting? About none or 1, right? But some of my lessons in the first week of Zoom teaching, I had to just charge half price because we didn't do anything. We just dealt with the lag time or whatever. So yeah, this is my first week of Zoom teaching was an unmitigated disaster. I mean, I had no idea what I was going to do, how I could possibly keep this up. I had a headache. I mean, you know how it was, right? Or how it maybe is still. I don't know if you've seen this little minuet in G version on internet. But this is an example of what can happen. I'm going to play this in case you don't know what it sounds like. So first of all, it's triple forte, right? And there's no here, but no dynamics. And it freezes. Right, that's something that's faster. Right, and then we have, wait. Sense the instrument, right? Then it's over. I remember one of the very first Zoom lessons I taught. It was Prokofiev Piano Concerto #1, and I heard the first two notes, down, up, and then nothing, because the sound just couldn't take the software couldn't take that much sound, so it just turned off. And so there are some basics for how to have a better live streaming experience. I would say now I get about 85% of what I want, having made some adjustments. And so this slide is just the overview of what we're going to talk about. First of all, you need to start with good hardware, so some kind of laptop or a tablet or something that's good quality, that has good processing speeds. We'll talk more about that. The best internet service speed available, and I realize in our area, what's available and what's possible are not always the same. I would highly recommend using an Ethernet cable instead of Wi-Fi wherever possible. A wired connection is much faster, and we'll talk about all these in detail. Good auxiliary devices. A USB microphone is a must. If you don't have one, it will change your life. If you want to have additional microphones, or excuse me, cameras, there's all kinds of webcams you can attach. Speakers are very helpful, or headphones. The problem, of course, with headphones can be that they block your sound if they're noise canceling. You don't want that, but something light that you can hear through, perhaps. And then, of course, finding a platform that works well for music or is optimized in some way to fit your needs. And then adding supplemental programs to enrich your teaching content, such as whiteboards. Do any of you use whiteboards on your online lessons at this point? So that might be a new thing. It could be helpful. Hopefully I can actually get this to work. I have my iPad here, and if I can get it to connect, we will show how that can work. So what kind of connecting device do you like to use? I'm just curious, laptop, tablet, or phone, what do you use typically? Who uses a laptop? A couple of you? How about a tablet? A few more, and a phone? Kind of a mix, okay, yeah. There's pros and cons, to either one. In the case of a laptop, they're usually very powerful in processing, and they are quite versatile in terms of what they can do all on the same device. You do want to avoid a low budget model. The $200 or $300 laptop is not going to work well. Chromebook does not work well, for example. So I would avoid that. You have the advantage of a webcam that can be easily directed towards your face, as in this one. I mean, it's not a great angle, but you can. It's set up for you to look right at it. It often has USB and Ethernet ports, although newer models tend to eliminate ports. You probably discovered that. So this is a 2017 model. It does have an Ethernet port built in. My daughter just bought a new model that has one USB-C port for everything. And you can do it with adapters, but that's the direction that the hardware is going. They're easier to use in keyboards usually, right, than a phone or something like that if you wanted to type something in. The cons, of course, include you have a limitation on where the camera will go, right? You can't really pick up your laptop and hold it over the keyboard very easily or show other angles very easily. And generally speaking, the built-in microphone and speakers are not very good, right? They're okay for speaking, but they're really not good enough for music. The tablet has, of course, surface writing capability if you wanted to do some kind of whiteboard application. And you could move it around for different angles if you want to show something. It's a little bit more portable depending on the size. I have an iPad Pro, which is a little bit big for that, but it's still possible. It can be less expensive than a laptop and still process pretty well. The cons include needing a mount of some kind for a fixed view, right? If you put it on a music stand, it might tip forward. My wife suggested duct tape, that could work. It will require an adapter if you want an Ethernet connection, but that's easily overcome. And it can be hard to type on, depending. What about your phone? Those of you who use your phone, what do you like about it? It's mobile, right? You can show different places on the keyboard. You can show overhead. You can, at least with one hand, right? And of course, you already have it, right? You don't have to go buy anything special. And you can use your network if the Wi-Fi goes down, right? It sometimes is a little bit better. And then it also has some built-in applications like FaceTime, although I don't personally think FaceTime sound is that great, but or the picture, but it's just a touch of a button. Everybody knows how to use it. So I think that's an advantage. The cons, I think, include not having it easily, well, you have to have a mount of some kind for fixed view. The image size is a little small, right? If your student's camera is kind of zoomed out, you don't really get a lot of detail of how they're moving or what's going on. It's impossible to run more than one app at a time in some cases, depending on what you're trying to do. And it's definitely hard to type on. So what can you do? Well, you can use all three. I use all three actually in my lessons. I use a laptop for my basic connection and all the auxiliary cameras. I use a tablet for score reading and other apps that require service connection. I use a phone, which I'll explain how I do that in a little bit. And it's nice for mobile camera options, but you don't have to do all three of these. Any one of them can work. Does anyone use all three? No? Yeah, that's just the way I've done it from the beginning. I guess I just like options. Okay, your connection is super important. The race goes to the swift, right? Bandwidth, of course, is the maximum amount of data that can be moved at any one time. And most live streaming platforms need a minimum of 1.8 megabits per second to get a smooth call. That isn't very much, actually, if you think about it, because most of the time, like at my home, I think the download is 30 megabytes and upload is 85 or something like that. So that's pretty good. But you have to keep in mind that all of your devices are drawing on that same bandwidth. So if you have a lot of devices connected, if you have kids or other computers running or work computers and so forth going, they're all drawing on that same bandwidth, and that can still keep stand up. So my life changed when I realized that Ethernet connection really makes a difference. And I have to thank my son for being an avid gamer. He bought a Ethernet kit because he was tired of the lag time for his games. And I thought it was ridiculous, and then later I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense. We gotta have that." And there's a lot more stability and speed. So, for example, Wi-Fi has to penetrate all the physical barriers in a home. It has to go around walls. It has to go past physical objects, whereas the Ethernet cable doesn't have to do that. The amount of speed difference is significant. You have on Wi-Fi average about 25 megabytes per second. And on an Ethernet cable up to 40 gigabytes per second. So it's going to maximize whatever your speed is. It's not going to slow anything down. Yes?
Okay, so I feel like I'm kind of smart.
What is an Ethernet cable?
Okay, so, well, I know
Yeah.
what Ethernet
Okay.
is. We do it with onto our desktop.
Yes.
But you're talking about an Ethernet in my piano room?
Yeah, so it depends on how so if you have a laptop, for example, and you're using Wi-Fi for that, that's going to be a slower connection than if you wire your internet to your
So
laptop.
I've got to have an Ethernet cable that goes from my piano room into my office?
I have a show and tell item, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, you do. So my son's gaming was downstairs, so he got a 50-foot cable. And it would go through the hallway to downstairs. It was really lovely. It's nice for the cord. But so I just bought a new one. Then you open that. This is a 50-foot at 8. And it will be 40 gigabytes per second. So
Into iPads or?
it can with an adapter. Yeah. So if you're using a tablet or phone, you can use an adapter. This particular laptop has a port, so I'm connected to Jim's right here. By the way, thanks to Jim. He spent an hour with me last night getting this all set up, and it's such a relief to just watch him and say, "Oh, it works." So anyway, I was going to use this, but he already had one, so that can install it.
You know, when you plug the other end into.
Into your router. Yeah.
Okay.
This is $25 on Amazon.
Yeah, so then your students need the same thing on there.
That's the trick, isn't it? So you're going to sound great and they'll sound terrible unless, right? And that's actually on my list here in a minute. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, so there's all kinds of adapters. So if you're like, oh, but I don't have a port for this, there's any adapter you can think of exists. So just look it up. These are just a few that I found pictures of, but you can You can do any number of combinations. There were some really cool ones that like fans with like all kinds of, so if you need more than one, see this has like 3 USB ports, which is way more than most do now, but it's not enough for everything I do. So
Are these in your handouts that were?
yes, so what I sent on the email, or what they sent on the email was this, a PDF of this PowerPoint, but also a 7-page detailed document with about 75 links. So yeah, that's why I didn't print it, because the links would be, what value you want, we won't know. Okay, so sound is going to improve a lot with a USB mic, and that's what this is right here. So I don't know if, I don't think I'm just going to jump over to this for a second so I can see. I'm going to have to occasionally do this. I have to stop screen sharing for them to see. So this is the USB mic that I use. This is a Razer Siren, which is about $100. I got it at Walmart just here. It's good. It's not the top of the line. There's an elite brand or model of this that is $200. I would be curious to try it, but not today. Also, just for my viewing audience at home, this is the USB cable we were talking, or no, the Ethernet cable. This is a 50-foot one that would reach to your device in your piano room. But this really changes your sound a lot. And I've tried it with and without, just in my own home between different places in my house, and it makes a big difference. The two biggest differences are the Ethernet and this. That just stabilizes sound a lot. So you don't get that Minuet and G version anymore.
But your students have to have that.
It's, yeah, if they have this, it will really help. So this is part of the battle, is saying, for $125, you can have good lessons. $125, right? And without it, you're not really going to get it. Okay, back to my screen. Share. Okay, so, oh, dang it, it does that. There we are. And okay, like that, and back to, yeah. Okay, so the particular model that you're seeing here is called the Blue Yeti, and it's considered to be the industry standard, the best quality, and you can get them from anywhere from $100 to $200, also similar to the Razer, but this is the one everybody talks about when we say, well, what do you recommend? Blue Yeti, always. And I know Lorianne has one, and later on we'll ask her to demonstrate her sound. She doesn't have an Ethernet connection, but she's willing to play for us a little bit. We'll see. Are you there? Oh, Lori, I see you. Well, anyway. All right, so they're really easy to use, the USB mics. You can just plug them right in and they're ready to go. You don't have to do any drivers or any anything. They just show up on your screen, and you can just choose them, and they actually usually just default to the whatever you plugged in. And then, as I said, you can use an adapter to get it to connect to anything else. But I would recommend it for a tablet as well, or whatever else it is you use. Playback sound also is greatly enhanced by some kind of a speaker instead of whatever is happening in your device. I can't think of a single device I've ever listened to that had the same quality sound that even a $25 pair of computer speakers will provide. And you can use Bluetooth or you can use wired. Wired is actually better quality of sound, although I don't know that most people would really notice that. It eliminates part of the sound signal in order to get it to move fast enough into your device, but they say it's out of the range of human hearing, but I think probably it does change the quality a little bit. But I just have a $30 pair of computer speakers I attach to my laptop, and it's a lot better. I would really like to do better than that. Probably should get something higher quality, maybe $100 worth, but gradually. It's really important to do these things gradually, unless you just want to drop a few $1,000s on getting this to work. But you can do a lot with just $25 here and there, really. Yeah, it was brought up that it depends a lot on your student connection, right? And it really does take two, and this is important to communicate to your student. If you're going to do this, if they're serious about this over a long term, they really need to invest in those two things that we mentioned, the USB mic and the Ethernet connection. So what your sound going out is going to be really good for them. It won't come back the same way. It just, no matter what you do, it will not sound any better than whatever they have on their end, except for, I guess, you have your speakers that can help somewhat. By the way, how many of you are doing lessons online right now since March? Is anybody who's continuing that way? Yeah, a few. Oh, some just at a distance, yeah, right. I have a student in Salt Lake that I see once a week, and she has a really good setup. So we're able to communicate through Zoom. Like I said, about 85% of what I would hope for, which really was a surprise. I would never have dreamed that a few months ago. So what platform to use is I think one of the big questions. So Zoom is what we're using right now, and it's the most common, but there are others that are designed specifically for music lessons. Have you heard of Rock Out Loud or Musi? Those are two kind of newer platforms. Let's talk about Zoom first. Of course, it's the most common one. Everybody kind of knows about it. It's free for unlimited one-on-one meetings, so you don't have to pay anything if you're just doing private lessons. Group meetings, you can have up to 40 minutes of up to 100 people. I don't know if you want to ever teach that many, but if you did, you could have 40 minutes. As you know, it's designed for speaking, so the software eliminates what it considers to be background noise, like pianos, quite readily. However, they have improved it in just on September 1st, they released what's called Music High Fidelity Mode. Have any of you tried that yet? On Zoom, it does make a difference. It's better. Then the original sound settings, are you familiar with that? I put some links on tutorials for how to do these if you haven't optimized your settings, but if you don't have them optimized, it will make Zoom less good. So particularly the music high fidelity mode, it can really help. And of course, as we said already, Ethernet and USB will make a big difference to Zoom. That combination actually works quite well if you both have it going both directions. Rock Out Loud and Musi.live are both developed recently, basically in response to the pandemic, by guitar players. And they're meant for music lesson applications, which is great. They both have free kind of options as well as paid ones, typically around $10 to $20. They're not that expensive, but mostly what they give you is recording capability, so you can save things. They also give you more group options as you pay a little bit. But the free version can work. They're both promising better sound because they have changed the filtering software to be more responsive to music. They have devoted more of the bandwidth to the audio instead of the video, whereas Zoom is more or less 50-50. Musi, I know, is about 70-30 in favor of audio. So your picture might not be quite as crystal clear, but it's not so important really. It's a good enough picture, I think. They're both still in development. Musi is working on getting us instrument-specific settings, so piano sound, guitar sound, and so forth. They're definitely both worth experimenting with and watching for future improvements. I have had connectivity problems with Musi, or I would have showed you how it works. Rock Out Loud, when I tried it, was, I thought, only marginally better than Zoom. Has anybody tried them or used them? No? Yeah, or how many of you have heard of them? I mean, or no? Yeah, I would definitely look into it because I think over time, these could be the way to go over Zoom. I mean, Zoom has improved, like I said, but I don't know. I think these are taking music teaching considerations to heart. And then there's another alternative that I use, Marco Polo. Do you know this app? On the phone, right? Everybody knows it, right? This one. And it's a good alternative to live stream sound problems because, first of all, it's free and it transmits recorded video and audio with only a 2 to 3 second delay. Have any of you tried this for lessons? Yeah, what do you think?
I did it more for I do the Zoom for with the main lesson.
Right.
But then I would send them little demonstrations.
Right.
Like here's the teacher's web part you can play along with.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what I do. So the sound quality is way better than a live stream because it's recorded. And they're able to send it close enough to real time that you're not really losing that much. I mean, maybe 2 seconds per play. So you're not really losing that much time in the lesson. The lesson claims exchanges can remain recorded, of course, and you can refer back to them at any time and during the lesson. I think it's great sometimes to be able to say to a student, you know that thing you just did, go listen to it, and you tell me if it's rhythmic, or you tell me if was there raw notes there, and they can go back and say, oh, what do you know? Of course, the downside is the recording exchanges are not interactive. You can't talk to each other during the recording process. You can only trade this. Yeah, so it's like a walkie-talkie. Yeah.
I've used it for communicating between lessons.
Yeah, also
They
good for
can
that.
Show me the certain skill you've worked on, show me how that's coming, and then for the little kids, it's so fun for them to get that video back.
Yeah, yeah. Plus you could do sound effects and make your voice sound like a robot, which is a lot of fun. I haven't actually done that in a lesson, and I don't know if I teach it. My students have figured that out, but yeah, you can make yourself sound pretty funny if you want to. But the way to do it is like you're saying, just open a Zoom meeting, and we go back and forth. We'll talk more naturally through a Zoom conversation, and then we'll do the playing exchanges for the sound quality on Marco Polo. And the one thing you have to remember is to mute the Zoom meeting, or you get feedback and it will not work. The Marco Polo will just sound really chaotic. But if you both mute and then it's good to go, and it's great. So once the student gets into the rhythm of that, it's fine. But I would say that younger students struggle with this. So if you have like a 8-year-old student who can't remember to mute every time, it's going to slow things down and kind of you need a parent there probably for a while. Yeah.
So do you have separate devices?
Yes.
Do one,
Right.
and on your
So
phone?
Marco Polo can not run on another program at the same time. So if you have a student who only has a phone, you will not be able to do Marco Polo and Zoom. They can't run Zoom and Marco Polo on the same device. So they have to have a laptop or a tablet or something else to run the other meeting. But just to give you an idea of what it's like, I run the Marco Polo through my phone. I do the lesson through, or the Zoom through the laptop. Oh, I don't know where my mic just went. I just want to blind you all. Okay. And then I run the sound on a little Bluetooth speaker, so it's a little bit better. So I'm just going to play a little bit from a recent lesson. Hopefully this is a good example. So here's my phone sound. It's not very loud, right, on the phone. So I don't use the phone sound. She's counting that right. Okay, so oh, that was something. Okay, so I just turned this on, and then make sure that I'm connected to it by Bluetooth, because sometimes it doesn't automatically, but let's just check. It's connected, okay. So I'm gonna play this back and you hear a difference, I hope. I don't know if this is the same recording or not. Let's try a different one. It's not bad, right? I can hear that pretty well. And it's generally speaking, better sound quality than I get on a Zoom. So it kind of solves that. If I were willing to spend more than $25 on a Bluetooth speaker, I'd probably get better sound than that.
So what is that?
This is a Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, just really little, but it does pretty well. It's very convenient size and everything. So that way I get these two running the Marco Polo, and then I have my laptop on with another set of auxiliary speakers that I plug in for the Zoom part. And I sometimes will have her just play back on Zoom because it's not so important to hear exactly every detail if we're just working rhythm or something. But if I want to really hear what's going on, I say put it on Polo. Yeah.
One piece of Marco Polo that I thought worked well, my son was doing Let's Play Music and they couldn't do the recital. So the students all recorded their videos and shared them in a group, and then they could comment on each other's. And so they got actually more positive feedback than they maybe would have at a normal recital, because the little kids are just,
Right.
I love that song because it had compositions. So that.
Right. You know, if you want to do commenting on an existing video, there's another app called GoReact. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. It's not in my handout or anything, but GoReact is a video commenting software. So you basically receive a video and you can make either verbal comments or written comments that are time-stamped to each exact second of the performance. So right here, you are a little bit late, or you were this or that, and it's really great for just after the fact. I wouldn't use it for lessons because it's totally not interactive. It's it's just information, between events. But it's great for giving a very specific feedback to a video that already exists. Okay, so if you'd like a different view, you can also put together an overhead camera, which I have set up over here. I wanted you to just sort of see how that works. So I have to go back to this. Just stop sharing. And, oh, I'm not trying to remember. I don't think I'm trying to do that. What I'm trying to do is switch cameras. So right now, I don't know if you can see, let me just change to speaker view. Oh, no, it's speaker view. Oh, Lori's there for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to switch this to my overhead view. Well, you can't see anything. Let's fix that. Okay, for some reason we're seeing Lori, but you can see up here in the corner where it says Melanie, that's my overhead camera. I'll just go ahead and play something over there for a second. You can get an idea of how that looks. I don't know why it's not. No, let's see if I can do it. I don't know why it's. Let's see if it will. Pin video. How about that? There we go. Okay, so if you wanted to do a two-handed demonstration, this is just a webcam that is running through a USB connection to my laptop. This is a $25 mount I got on Amazon. And it also, you can change the mount piece to be a phone also. So if you want to use your phone this way, it will connect that way. But then you get this kind of view. You can show a lot of different things. You can talk about alignment, you can talk about hand position, movement, right? A lot of things with two hands that you can't do otherwise. With a phone when you're holding it and moving around. Has anyone tried this? What's that? No? I just got this actually just recently, and I've seen it in other teacher setups, and I thought, oh, that looks very technical. But it's literally a $25 mount and an $80 webcam that I already had. And then I bought an extension, a USB extension, so that it was, because it's pretty short, the connector on there. But it depends on where your laptop is in relation to the camera usually. I mean, this is obviously pretty far away, so I had to use an extension, but it really seems to help. Well, and yeah, and that's a great view though. I really like the side view. But yeah, often, whoops, there you go. It falls down. So that's kind of annoying. Okay, let's go back to this. And hopefully it will not knock me off. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's goosenecks, there's a lot of different possibilities. Okay, so this picture just shows, it's actually the same device, the same mount that I have, but with the phone. So you can use your phone that way. If you don't want to buy a webcam, you can just use your phone that way. But I don't think you could go back and forth between, I'm going to disconnect it and then put it over here and then reconnect it, because it doesn't just snap in place. You have to like kind of screw it in. Yeah, so it's just really helpful for those two-handed demonstrations. Oh, and you can also easily toggle, which I should have showed you, but you can just click on the camera on Zoom and just say to the camera icon and just switch back and forth quickly when you're not trying to screen share at the same time. That's helpful. Okay, so the virtual whiteboard. How's our time? I don't want to. We have a few minutes. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully I can figure out how to show you this. In the handout, there's a tutorial made by a friend of mine, linked to this part, so you can learn how to use Google Jamboard. This is a picture from a screenshot from her demonstration. How many of you used Google Jamboard before? Before I even go there, let me just show you. I hate to go out of this again, but Google actually, or Google, what do you call it? Zoom has a whiteboard. I don't know if you know that. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, where is it? It's actually the screen share option. So if you go here and you say, I want to select whiteboard, there it is. Oh, you can't see it again. I don't know why it keeps knocking me off, but at least I know how to get back. Okay, so here's your whiteboard on the Zoom meeting directly. And you can just use your mouse and just do that or whatever, you know, but that's about all you can do. Because unless you're better than I am at drawing, okay, I'm gonna draw a staff now. Oh wait, right? Here's the treble clef. It's a little difficult, right, to use this, and there's no way to import any kind of graphics to this particular whiteboard. So it's just really, you can type in it, and you could use, so for example, if you text and say, I can type, right? Or if you're like, oh, I would like to have heart stamps everywhere, then you're in business, because there you go. Right, so it can do certain things. I'm not sure what the point is, but they can, you know, but what it can do, if you have a little, what's called a pencil tablet, you can, which is just a little, kind of like a little mouse pad with a pen that will draw on it. You can turn it into a virtual surface tablet. And you just plug it in through USB again. You have to have lots of USB connections in case you're wondering. And you can just draw on it that way, and that way you can draw a little more neatly. But with this particular whiteboard, you can't import any graphics. So this is where Google Jamboard comes into play. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. If I go to Jamboard, actually what I really can do is just, so this is just a website that talks about, what I'm gonna do though is just move this and go over here. I'm just gonna go to my, where is it? Is this my Google? Yeah. Huh. Maybe that's just blocked. Yeah. Huh. Wait, where is it? So usually when I just open Google, it's just one of the options on the apps. Let me just try again. Yeah, here we go. So you just slide down here on the Google Chrome, and Jamboard is right here. And then you can just say, I'd like to start a new one. You just go to the little plus sign right here, and you can start drawing. Can you see that? Okay. And it's the same kind of thing where you, wait, I'm gonna move all this stuff. Let's say I want to just draw squiggles. Okay, there you go. But if you want to bring in a text, so if you add image, and you can either bring something in from your camera, oops, from your camera, or on your phone, like pictures or whatever, or you can do an image search. And let's say I would like to do a music staff. You click on that and say I would like, oh, let's see, how about this one? And there it is. There it is. And you want to resize that so it's a little bigger. That's fine. It'll show whatever is still on the board, by the way. You can sort of see through. This. And now I can draw on this if I just go to this and say I want to draw notes. Okay, granted, I'm not great at drawing notes with my mouse pad. So this is where that little pen thing would be useful. Or if you did this on your tablet, you could use if you have a tablet that has a pen or a pen that connects to the surface, then you'd be all set. Or you can go back to this and say, okay, I would like a quarter note. And it will say, okay, how about this one? And then it will show up. And I can resize it. Whoopsie, I didn't want to do that. I have to get the corner thing and then resize it to this, let's say. I don't know, this one doesn't have a clear background for some reason. And then if you want, you can duplicate it so you don't have to go searching for it again and you move it around. Usually the one I pick up doesn't have a color background, so you can actually see them just like normal notes. Or you can put them off to the side over here and say, what is this? A corner. So it's a little limited, a little clunky, but it's better than the other one. Then if you want something more flexible, you can attach, so I don't know if I want to take the time for this, but you can use something like Educreations, which is an app that you can get free. It's in the handout if you want to link to it, the link to it. But you can take the tablet that you have, join it to the Zoom meeting, screen share it, and then it will do the same thing, but it's a much more flexible application. You can do more things so that you can draw more naturally because of the pen, at least I can, with that. So I'm not gonna take the time to do that right now, but that's another option, is just bringing in your tablet or other device, or if you're just going straight from your tablet in the first place, then you're all set. So it just depends on how where your platform is running. Okay, let's see if I can find my way back to the meeting. That's another question. Okay, so what I'm probably gonna do is screen share something different, right? How do I do that? Let's see, not that. No, I think we're done with that. I can stop the share. Just go.
Hopefully the hearts.
Yeah, the hearts are nice. All right, now we're gonna go back to screen share and go back to the presentation. Okay, so so for students who want, one thing about Educreations is it will also do video that you can save. So if you want to do a screencast type thing where you're drawing on a staff and showing different theory concepts or whatever, you can actually save that as a video, and then your students can see that outside of lesson time. So that's kind of nice. Okay, are we still there? Okay, we still have there we go. Kind of, okay. All right, so whiteboards can be helpful. And I already just mentioned all of this, so I'll just skip over that. There are also interactive music teaching websites you're probably already familiar with, like music3.net, Favorite Music Trainer. Emerson Music Arts has a list of a whole bunch of games, and you can just screen share on your Zoom or whatever you're doing. And you can do those together, do it as a quiz, do it with some change of pace, so it gives students something different to do than just listen to talk and get garbled up by Zoom sounds or whatever. Have any of you used any of these in your lessons or other times? Yeah. So it's a nice way to change things up. How many of you remember Brandon Bascom? Yeah? So he was on the faculty for a few years at BYU-Idaho. He's now at Fresno City College in California. And he has a really great tutorial, which is linked in the handout, about OBS Studio, which is an open broadcasting software that combines multiple sources into one stream. So you just get all these sources and you set up what's called scenes, and then you can see all of these different options at one time and don't have to toggle back and forth like I'm doing right now. And it's not very hard to do if you are willing to experiment a little bit and just listen to Brandon, because he does a really good job of explaining it. But you can see what he has is the main video feed in the middle where he's just talking. Over here he has the overhead camera. He has a foot pedal camera on the lower right, so if you want to show something pedaling. He has the whiteboard and he has a virtual keyboard all at the same time on his transmission. So everybody sees everything at once and he doesn't have to change anything. He can just go from one place to the other. So I'm not going to take the time to show the video because it's like 9 minutes long, but it's really good and extremely helpful, I think, option if you want to get serious about having all your options open. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. There is all kinds of online support out there for people in our situation because there's so many people in our situation, right? And not everybody is really thrilled about being in this situation. Oh, is anyone thrilled about doing this? I just forgot to ask that part. I'm actually getting kind of interested in it. I actually taught a few Skype lessons to a guy in China a couple of years ago, and it was, I have 5 words of Chinese, he has about 500 in English, and we had a Skype connection that disappeared under a mezzo piano. So I just would say, that was beautiful. Why don't you try it a little bit louder? And I mean, it was really, really hopeless. I would love to try it again. I don't know how China would work with all of this. It may be a little bit better than it did before, but it does open a lot of options if you want to, like, I forget who was saying that she taught her grandchildren in another state, right? There's other options that could open up your business opportunities. You never know. I mean, it isn't all just dire, hopefully. So there are a number of forums. There's one called Counter World Forum. There's a lot of threads in that one. MTNA.org has a lot of content from its 2020 conference, which was canceled because of the virus. Has over 100 sessions. They're free to anyone. You don't have to be a member to see those. But not a lot of them are about online teaching specifically, but they're really good. I would watch that site though, because I have a feeling they're going to be developing more about online teaching in the near future. in the short term and maybe in the long term, I find Facebook has a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot about what I know about this mode of teaching through Facebook groups. There's Zoom Piano Teachers, that's a really good one. It's just focused on this exact issue. Art of Piano Pedagogy, Piano Teacher Central. Do any of you belong to these groups? I don't know if you tried. There's others too. For me, the Zoom Piano Teachers one is the most focused on this issue, and I find it really helpful. And it's also because everyone is doing this in real time. It's like what's happening right now. I think Piano World Forum is a little behind all of that. It's not so current, but people are on Facebook all the time trying to figure out what the heck they're doing. And so there's a lot of pleas of desperation in there, and people say, well, here's this, and here's a link to that, and it's great. There's just lots and lots you can learn that one. Did you have a comment? No. Okay. All right. Of course, there's lots of piano teacher blogs and websites that go over this exact material that we're talking about today. I didn't know until I started preparing for this, I didn't actually know about most of them, but those links are in your handout as well. Melody Payne has a really good one just on equipment. The Bulletproof Musician one has a lot about just maximizing effectiveness in this format and so forth. So there's just tons of great stuff. And you can just Google search like, what am I doing? And something will come up. Finally, just a couple of little tips for online teaching. Lighting can be important, right? I mean, which guy do you want to listen to of those two? Right, and you can use a ring light like they use in theater, you know, just put it behind the camera, you know, so that nobody sees it, but it gives you a lot more of a present look, and especially for younger children, I think they want to be able to feel engaged by seeing you well. Don't shout. They're far away, but shouting doesn't change that. So have you found that you do that? Hello, are you there? You know, and eventually, if you do that for several hours, your voice is gone. Have any of you had voice problems with that? I have. And so if you have a problem with sound transmission of your voice, you just need to get closer to the microphone, not shout over. So just keep that in mind. I think it's really important with especially younger students to check often, more often even than you usually do, for their attention and awareness, because you can't read their body language nearly as well. Do you find that they just look a little bit like they're an icon of your students sometimes? You can see them moving a little bit, but you can't read their facial expressions. You can't read their I'm bored body language or whatever. And so I think you have to ask them lots of interrogatives, like, tell me what we just said. Tell me what I just said. Sorry with that. You know? Or just demonstrate for me how you're going to practice whatever it is, measures 1 through 5. Right? How are you going to do that? And you'll find out a lot. I mean, hopefully that's what you already do. I know sometimes we feel like we don't have time, but I really think it's important to be aware of that for the younger student. Likewise, I think engaging in multiple learning modes, not just you talking and them playing back and forth. It depends on their age and what their interests are, of course, but I think using those whiteboards and other applications, actually YouTube. I had a great lesson the other day with a student who was not feeling too inspired in her Beethoven, and I was like, let's listen to the Daniel Barenboim for just a minute together and talk about it. And it changed everything. She's like, oh, I have permission to not play too fast. Well, you know. It's like, I'm saying that, but then once you hear Daniel Barenboim do it, it sounds, oh, that's really beautiful. I want to sound like that, you know. And of course, you can do all kinds of things with music history or other kinds of enrichment through online sources. It just changes things up if you feel that you need to engage in a different way. And finally, just keep adding new ideas. You don't have to do this all at once. Same with equipment, just a little bit at a time. If you told me 6 months ago that I would be giving this lecture, I would have said, you're out of your mind, because I don't know anything. And I barely know anything now. But I know more than I did 6 months ago, a little at a time, just by keeping an ear to the ground, looking at those teacher forums, looking for solutions to what I am facing today online. There's just so much you can figure out, actually, if you just are open to it. And that's pretty much all I have. Do you have questions? Any thoughts? So many. Where to begin? Where to begin? And I haven't even looked at the feed. I should probably stop sharing and find out. Oh, and I was going to ask Lori to play a little bit. Are you still there, Lori? Lori?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Would you play just a little bit? Let's just hear how your Blue Yeti, she's got a Blue Yeti mic, not an Ethernet connection, but let's hear how that sounds on your piano.
So I'm just going to plug this in because I had the greatest success when I plugged my headset in through the Blue Yeti. Even if the student didn't have a microphone, it made all the difference in the world.
Interesting.
So I'll just plug this in real quick.
Oh, screen. Wait. My screen is gone. Actually, I don't think I have a view of it anyway, but let me see if we can get this to. Okay, let's see if we can. I think I pinned this, so now I can't change it. Let me unpin it somehow. Can I do that?
So I'm actually curious to see if it makes a difference on what you hear on your end. So if I take the mic out and
Makes a big difference so far. Amazing.
okay, does it make a difference on what you hear?
They like the second one better. Is that the wrong
What
answer?
did I do wrong? So I don't hear them at all. Where'd you go?
Hello,
Let's see the system.
Lori? They're big old speakers back there. Yeah. So yeah, they're good speakers, obviously. I mean, I thought the sound either way was pretty viable. I mean, do you think you could teach a lesson on that sound? I'm not quite sure. It sounds like she was plugging her Blue Yeti into her headset somehow, and I don't know exactly how that works. But Lori,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yes, I did. So I found out that my headset could plug into the bottom of the Blue Yeti, and then I'm hearing their sound through my ears in the headset, and it made all the difference in the world, even if they didn't have a mic.
Right. So if we were playing back to you, you would have a better sound with that. I'm not sure it makes that much difference to us. We were getting the Blue Yeti sound either way, but whether it's through the headset, I don't think it changes us that much. At least that's what our impression was. In fact, we liked
Okay.
we kind of liked the second one better. Right? Is that right?
So I'm still seeing the keyboard. It'd be
Yeah.
great to see your face.
Yeah, well, you know, it's overrated. Here we go. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, are there questions from, let's see, anyone online, anyone has questions they'd like to share? We can hear you if you just want to speak, or you can put it in chat, whichever. If not, anyone else in the, I would say Peanut Gallery, that's not good. In the live lines, any other questions for the moment? All right, well, thank you everybody for your attention, and I hope you've got something you can use. I mean, everyone's kind of doing this, so you probably know a lot of this already, but hopefully maybe some of the combinations are a little bit different. Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you about actually. There is yet another platform I just learned about yesterday after I already submitted my PDF, the workshop to the email, called Clean Feed. Clean Feed, it sounds like a pet product, but it's actually, so Arizona State University School of Music is using exclusively Clean Feed for audio on video. Because Clean Feed is only audio, but it's a higher definition. So you can run them simultaneously. I tried this in my house. I didn't dare try it today because it was too good to me. But you can run it through it. I thought it was better. I mean, not hugely better, but it was better. And maybe through their system, the probably university has very powerful Wi-Fi or online service. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's just live transmission. So you can talk. You can yeah. Just move your Zoom and that gives you the video at the same time. So it's just an improved audio sound that you run simultaneously with Zoom. So CleanFeed doesn't do any video at all. You can record it also through that. Yes.
Where just a couple of your experiences with this online learning.
Yeah.
What do you find? I've heard one comment by one of our own students. She did it because of the little camera on the, she could only see the fingers and that she couldn't see anything up that was at the bottom. But that she, it was hard to interact back and forth. What are your experiences?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a comment. I have to express something. My daughter does a lot of speech therapy.
Yeah.
A lot of things she's had to do online.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of younger kids who don't want to be there anyway. And so she's like, you have to put the laptop on the table and not continue this lesson or things like that. But I watched it. I think it came, I don't know where it came. There was a video on a piano teacher trying to do online lessons. And she said, you have to use your hands. You gotta, you gotta keep them. Like if you just sit and talk like this,
They just lose it. Yeah.
So I told my daughter about this, and it helped her a lot. But I watched some online videos of different subjects, and I noticed the good ones. They are more
Animated.
more movement,
Yeah.
and more maybe a little more animated. And I mean, I watched them and I'm like, wow, it does. Well, that's one comment. But I have a question.
Yeah.
My problem was like the music, like like the method books when you're going through. I use several different ones. So
Right.
I don't have
Right.
all of them. So it's hard
Great
to see
point.
what they're playing
Yeah.
and their notes.
So there are virtual or digital editions you can get of some of them. Like Faber has everything digitally. You can just that way you have it. Otherwise, I don't do a lot of method teaching, so I use IMSLP scores on Foursquare. I didn't tell you about that, and I was going to connect this and show you how it works. But I can write right on the score in different colors, and I can send screenshots of it, or I can just share the screen and they can see what I'm saying about fingering or whatever. So Foursquare is like $15.99, and on an iPad Pro, it looks just like music. I use this to play from. You could, smaller iPad, you could do it. Get great eyes, which I don't. So, but yeah, that's one thing. I honestly, I don't know if this is legal. I should turn off the recording. One of my students' moms she just texts me pictures of everything before the lesson. Yeah, we own them. I mean, is that fair use? She owns them. We own them. They're real copies. They're just maybe they have real physical copies of that they paid for. And that way I can see exactly, so I'll get her theory assignment that she's finished, and I just go right through the beginning lesson and I can see everything. I have it in normal paper size on this device right here. Yeah, well, once you get into the routine, it's amazing. I mean, this student I have not seen in person since March, and she's made incredible progress. I mean, she's one of these kids, first of all, she's just really focused. So for her, this is not a problem. She can toggle between all the cameras and all the this and that, and she's right there. But it depends on the student. I have other students who were not like that. In fact, one of them gave up.
So even the notes you write for the lesson, you say you take a picture of that and send it to them.
Yeah, you can do that, or I just tell them to write.
You tell them.
Yes, I do, because I think that's actually can be a really important part of the learning process. When you have to distill information and handwrite it, you learn more than you just receive something. Yeah.
I teach mostly younger students because I think it's hard with them.
Yes.
But this whole campus on both, he's got some very visible, like, once you started, one thing I have used is sharing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
He has a short, one that's feeding very video where it demos and scales for them and showing them the stuff. Kind of similar to where you have the guy that's showing all the angles, like, here it is, it's done. It just makes it changes it up a little, so it's not just me and that.
Right, I think variety is really important.
There's also some little micro public video that just keeps clear, like there's like a quick song that teaches about dynamics, music context. So I thought that's better than.
I think the bottom line is there is so much material on the web that you just look for it and just think about how can I apply this? What do I need? Start with what do I need, and then look for it, and then how can I apply it? I think that it takes a lot of invention. Really. There's no like if I go to classes, I didn't talk about this option. right? I'm guessing nobody was prepared for this, and so we just have to become really adaptable and versatile. Was there another comment or any other thing you wanted to share? Did that answer your question? Or, yeah. Anybody else have other war stories or? Who was it? Yeah, tell us the name of that person again. Nicola.
The colorful keys blog.
Colorful Keys
And
blog.
so I
I'll put it in the blog.
taking theory videos on YouTube, but people want to write the blog.
And what's the name? Nicola.
Nicola Pan. I can.
Can. Okay, I should put that there.
They're called thinking theory. It's more
Think-
books that go along
Thinking
with
what?
it. Thinking theory.
Thinking theory.
Yeah. But I'll just send, I do my lesson plans through Google Docs now. And so I'll just send in 7 links. I do a class along with it. So I send 7 links. I'm not teaching online anymore.
Yeah.
How it all fits in.
Right. Great. Any other experiences that has had that you've been instructive? Okay, well, oh yeah, one more. Yeah,
Well,
it's okay.
I hesitate to comment because I don't have experience teaching music online. But I did change, I teach English, and I did change from classrooms online to Pathway several years ago, and I thought it was gonna be awful. And I still believe there's no replacement for face-to-face. There just isn't. But I have discovered things that I love about virtual online learning. So I think when we're pushed out of our comfort zone, we hate it, and we're right to say there's no replacement for face-to-face. But when you're forced to change and try something new, there are some things that are really valuable. So I think in the end, if we have a combination of these different things, our teaching is going to be better
Yeah.
than it was.
Yeah. And I would also say some of my students have gone a little back and forth now. They're like, okay, they come from Idaho Falls and they don't want to, drive that far every week, or they have some conflict or someone's sick. We still have a way to have a lesson, and we have enough experience with it that it's still pretty useful. And even if it's not our favorite way, I still have them come, But there's occasions when we just got back.
I have found too that the kids are taking a lot more, they're doing more than they were before. I think I was spoon feeding them too much.
Yeah.
And as soon as we start going to the virtual teaching, they
Right.
have to write in the notes.
Right.
And so they're taking a lot more.
Right, and I actually say in the lesson, please write that down. Make a note of that.
So they're taking
Yeah, it just
ownership.
just you take care of it, because I don't have a way. Well, I probably could find a way to convey it to them, but there is another app that was developed by Adam Ballard, the faculty of BYU-Idaho, called Music Studio, which you can take notes on the lesson, and then you can forward it to them in the text. So I have used that before. I used that before the pandemic, actually. So I think it's called Music Studio. Yeah, it's a red and black icon. I guess it's on the phone. It's only on the phone, so on tablet, so I can't show you this. But I did like that feature. So I can type on my device and just say, do this, do that, and then you can either, if they have the app also, then it will just automatically go to a place where they can pick it up, or you can just send out a text to them. Anything else? Okay. Well, thanks so much for your attention.